Good day, everyone, and good day to you, Ma'am Jessica Astilio. I am Kristen Jade Sisipada from Detailed HA2A, and for today's video, I'm going to discuss my assigned topic, which is the measurements and conversion in Chapter 3, Measuring Food Materials. But first, let us know the objectives of this topic. So, at the end of this lesson, students must have understand the basic measurements and conversions and principles of food preparation. Second, apply the different kinds of measurements, techniques, and conversions in preparing food. And lastly, value the importance of measurements and conversions when measuring food materials. And now let's tackle my topic, which is the measurements and conversions. And let's start. So what is measurement? Measurement is the process of determining the specific amount of an ingredient required by using a standard measurement device such as measuring spoon, measuring cup, or measuring utensils. Recipes are designed and written to yield a certain number of servings each time they are made. Sometimes it is necessary to convert recipes to make more or less of a dish. To convert a recipe means to adjust ingredient quantities up or down. This can help meet the changing needs of food service establishments. If you must change the yield or portion sizes, you must convert the recipe before you begin any ingredient preparation. No recipe can be successful if you are careless about measuring ingredients. So in measurements and conversions, you need to measure the ingredients accurately and exactly. So why you should weigh your ingredients? There's one chef has proclaimed that you can make bad food taste better with more butter or salt, but it is better to just make great food with the right amount of ingredients. So the question is why you should weigh your ingredients. It is because to cook better food. When creating recipes, the recipe developers tried so many different numbers of variants so that in the end they can get the exact or the best result, and it is best to follow the recipe. Second is accuracy. Ingredient measurements have to be precise and accurate to get the good result and to be consistent every time you cook. So that's why you must know how to correctly measure ingredients. The third one is weight versus volume. For us to get the weight and the volume, we have different measuring tools that we are going to use to accurately measure the ingredients. The fourth one is the portioning. To ensure that the portions are equal and uniform in the size, that's why we need to measure ingredients accurately and precisely. The last one is the consistency. If you want your customers or the people that keep coming back to your business, you need to be consistent on the taste of your food, and that's properly measuring ingredients helps you to be consistent on the taste of the food as well as the portion. And next, let's move on to heat, Fahrenheit, centigrade, or Celsius. So we have here, in heat, we have very cool. So the equivalent in Fahrenheit, it is 230, and Celsius, it is 110. Next, we have cool or slow. The Fahrenheit is 275 to 300 Fahrenheit, and the Celsius is 135 to 150. Next is the moderate. It has 350 Fahrenheit and 175 Celsius. Next is hot. The Fahrenheit of hot is 425 and the Celsius is 220. Lastly is very hot. It has 450 Fahrenheit and the Celsius is 230. Next, let's move on to the conversion of temperature measurement. So we have here the centigrade or the Celsius. So to get the centigrade or Celsius, we have here the formula. 5/9 times Fahrenheit minus 32 or Fahrenheit minus 32 times 5/9. Next is the Fahrenheit. To get the Fahrenheit, we have here 9 times Celsius over 5 plus 32 or 1.8 times Celsius minus 32. Next, we have here the weight and measure equivalent. Let's have the dash equals less than 1/8 teaspoon. Next is the 3 teaspoons equivalent to 1 tablespoon. Next is 2 tablespoons equivalent to 1/8 cup and also 1 fluid ounce. 4 tablespoons equivalent to 1/4 cup and 2 fluid ounce. And 8 tablespoons equivalent to 1/2 cup, 4 fluid ounce, and 16 tablespoons equivalent to 1 cup and 8 fluid ounce. And 1 gill is equivalent to 1/2 cup. Next is 2 cups equivalent to 1 pint, 2 pints equivalent to 1 quart, and 4 quarts equivalent to 1 gallon, 8 quarts equivalent to 1 peak, and 4 peaks equivalent to 1 vessel. So we have here the gallon measurements. 1 gallon is equivalent to 128 ounce equals 4 quart equals 8 pints and 16 cups. 1 quart equals 32 ounce and 1 pint equals 16 ounce. And 1 cup is equal to 8 ounce. Next one is the solid measurements. We have here 1 pinch equals 1/8 teaspoons. 1 cup equals 16 tablespoon and 1 teacup equals 3 teaspoon and 1 teacup equals 15 ml and 15 gram. 1 teaspoon equal to 5 ml and 5 grams. Next is the liquid measurements. So we have here the 0.946 quart equals to 1 liter and 1 pint equals 2 cups. 1 pint equals 480 ml. 1 cup equals to 240 ml. Next one is the weight measurements. The first one is 1 lb equals to 6 ounce. 1 ounce equals to 28.35 grams. 1 lb or pounds equals to 454 grams. And 1 kilogram equals to 2.21 pounds. Next is the metric conversion. We have 1 liter equals to 1000 ml, 1 centiliter equals to 100 ml, 1 deciliter equals 10 ml, 1 kilogram equals to 1000 grams, 1 centigram equals 100 grams, and 1 decigram equals 10 grams, and lastly, 1 gram equals 1 ml. So we have here the steps in how to get the measurement in conversion table. First is to choose appropriate conversion factor from conversion table. Second, represent unknown as x and form second ratio. Third, cross-multiply the two ratios. And fourth, solve for the unknown measurements as x. Next is let's move on to the examples. I prepared 2 examples for this topic. The first one is how many cups of water is needed for a recipe requiring 480 ml. The solution, first to get the conversion factor. 1 cup is equal to 240 ml. Second, to get the second ratio, x equals 480 ml. And third, to cross multiply 240 ml times x equals 480 ml times 1 cup. So next is x equal to 480 ml times 1 cup over 240 ml. So the result is 480 cup over 240. So you need to divide it and the result is x equals to 2 cups. So that is the first example. The second example is how many ml of milk is needed for a recipe requiring 4 pints. So the solution is, again, you need to get the conversion factor. 480 ml equals 1 pint. Second is to get the second ratio, which is x equal to 4 pints. And next is you need to get the second ratio, which is x equals to 4 pints. Then cross multiply 1 pint times x and equals to 4 pints times 480 ml. Next is x equals 4 pints times 480 ml divided it by 1 pint. So the result is x equals 1920 ml divide 1 and the final result is 1920 ml. So that is the 2 examples of on how to get the measurements. Next, let's move on to the oven temperature conversion. So we have here the Celsius and the Fahrenheit. So to get the oven temperature conversion, we have different formula of Celsius and Fahrenheit. So in Celsius, we have Fahrenheit minus 32 over 1.8, and in Fahrenheit, we have 1.8 times Celsius plus 32. So I have one example of this. It is 300 Fahrenheit equals what degree of Celsius. So to get this, we need to solve this problem. So here is the solution. First, you need to find the formula. First one is Celsius equals to Fahrenheit minus 32 over 1.8. Next step is to substitute. So in Fahrenheit, we have the given 300 Fahrenheit, then minus 32 over 1.8. So next step is to subtract. 300 Fahrenheit minus 32 is equal to 268. So you need to divide it in 1.8. So next step is to divide. 268 divided 1.8 is equivalent to 148.89. So the equivalent of 300 Fahrenheit in Celsius is equivalent to 148.89 Celsius. So in the kitchen, you have to deal with everything, from the spices and the ingredients to the heating and grilling equipment. You may be required to prepare food for yourself or as many as crowd. And as such, it is important that quantified ingredients, including spices, be used so that everything settles in proportion and one doesn't have to dilute and thereby waste more content for the food to have the desired taste. Hence, scales, calibrated vessels, and weighing equipment become important for measuring before the procedure of cooking steps in. Let's round up the reasons why we need to measure ingredients while cooking. The first one is to avoid wastage of food prepared. So measuring while cooking avoids wastage of food prepared and consequently the ingredients employed. When you know the number of your guests and their appetite, you add the ingredients accordingly, keeping in the mind judicious use of kitchen scales and resources and the avoidance of food waste at the same time. So the second is to produce this desired taste and look and textures. So besides isn't just the contents that need to be measured for the recipe to turn out as it does in the tutorial you were watching. You need to mind the time as well. Thus, time becomes another constraint to measure while cooking. So cooking timers help keep account of the food being cooked, baked, boiled, or grilled, especially when you are busy bee of the house. So the third one is to define the fine line between glorious food and a disaster. In the end, it is about the delicacies you prepared, their odor, their appearance followed by the taste. Even before the dishes hit the dining table, you'll have a fair understanding of how the dish turned out to be. The fourth one is to employ minimal efforts. And while you have spent hours on creating the recipe that you were so obsessing about, spend many bucks on its unique ingredients. So you would yourself want to see some decent results. This is one of the important reasons why most people fail to replicate the recipes they find online. The fifth one is to avoid wastage of other ingredients. It is sometimes not the lack of resources but the disproportionate ingredients that fail to yield the desired results. Disproportionate ingredients not only alter the taste of food but also have repercussions on the health of its consumers. So in conclusion, standardized recipe measurements can make it quicker and easier to increase or decrease the amount that a recipe makes when needed. So measuring ingredients with extreme accuracy ensures they are distributed equally and the product tastes the same in every batch. Food scales help processors adhere to product requirements and reduce the risk of creating out-of-spec product. Knowing how to convert measurements is an important skill to have in the kitchen. Understanding how temperature is measured is very important in the food service industry, as many foods need to be heated to a specific internal temperature before they are safe to eat. Not only can substitution save the day when you lack an ingredient called for in a recipe, but it also enables you to make a recipe better for you. That's helpful whether you are trying to improve your overall eating pattern or cooking for a specific health condition. And that would be all. Thank you for listening, and I hope everyone will gain more knowledge about measurements and conversions. Again, I am Kristen Jade Pada from BTL EDHE 2A. Thank you and God bless.